Welcome back to the channel. Today we're in Yorkshire with Nev Styles and Tony on the last bit of preparation before they make their adventure down to Africa. Before we start, is there any sponsors, anyone you want to talk about? Someone that's helped you along the way?
Well, yeah, we've been really lucky. We've had a couple of companies who've helped us out with the challenge. Hull Asphalt, which are an asphalt company locally to ourselves, and also a company called New Farm. They're an international company, aren't they, Tony?
International agri company, although they've got British bases in Bradford, which is one of the reasons they're behind us as well. The whole northern thing, Yorkshire thing.
So what have them guys done to help you?
There's been a bit of financial input from them, which has helped mammothly, because obviously this sort of challenge, it's a ridiculously expensive sort of thing to do. And we've also had some help from a company called ATV City, who've kindly supplied us with tyres, these Obor tyres, Chinese tyre, but they feel really, really good. And we've got high hopes with the use of those. So that's been really good. One or two of the small companies who've donated some gear, some of the fire sticks from the fire stick company, a real nifty fire extinguisher system, which seems to work really well on motorsport vehicles. So people have donated their services. And the two main companies who have donated a bit of cash to help us along, basically.
That's it. Yeah, so, well, I suppose start at the start. Where did it all start? Who started it, basically? Who got dragged along?
Nev started it, I got dragged along. I was the only idiot that was mad enough to do it with him.
Yeah, that's probably about right, actually, I think,
he thought, who's the biggest idiot I know, and he spoke to me.
I mean, I've followed the Dakar ever since the first 1978. I was in the military at the time, and saw the first one Thierry Sabine set up, and I thought, this is an adventure and a half. This is the ultimate what you can do. And ever since then I've followed it all the way through the time in Africa, the time in South America, and obviously now it runs in Saudi. And it's always been a dream, and that's all it would be a dream. We came across this organisation who do this intercontinental rally, and basically they do it on the ethos of the original classic Paris Dakar. So they have a ceremonial start in Paris, and we go all the way through to Dakar. It's split into two sort of categories, a proper race category and an adventure category, and it's designed to allow the sort of normal people to have a go at this sort of thing. So it's not works teams or anything like that. And it just looked, this has got to be the way to go. An opportunity arose with me semi-retiring, and it was around about September last year that I started thinking about it, and approached you around about this time last year.
Tell you what, mate, it was even before that.
Was it before that?
We've been speaking about it for over 18 months now, I think.
Tony jumped at the chance. I mean, he's an adrenaline junkie anyway, and he jumped at the chance. You're into the petrol head stuff and that.
Just into cars, motorsport, done a bit throughout the years, bit of autograss and single-seaters and all sorts. So, I haven't done it for a while, so there's a chance to ever go up doing something mental.
So what's the draw to it then? What's just the adventure?
It's the challenge, isn't it?
It's a challenge.
It's the challenge.
It's a challenge, you know. We want to get to the end. We want to be in Dakar, and there's a lot of things. There's a lot of hiccups. I'm sure what's going to happen. You know, we've got to try and keep that car in one piece. We've got to try and keep ourselves in one piece.
Learn how to use a sat nav. I should
learn how to use a sat nav.
You won't be going anywhere with that.
And that's the thing. What it is? It's a challenge. It's a big challenge, and it's an adventure, and it's. I think it's something not to be missed. I'll never ever probably go back into Mauritania again in my life, or Senegal. So I've always been into travelling, and I like seeing places, like meeting people, and to me it's an ideal opportunity to see a country at its rawest. You're not just sitting in cities, you're actually out mixing it with locals.
Out in the wilderness.
To me, that's the way forward.
So how long have you two known each other? Long friendship?
Probably 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
He's now classed as a Yorkshireman as well, so that's pretty good going, eh?
Yeah. Getting slowly adopted.
We've known each other for probably
5 or 6 years. Got to know through other people when I moved to Pocklington, and then chatting away. Nev's got an interest in motorsport, did rallying years ago. I just love rallying and anything like that, and just hit it off, I suppose. And then Nev wanted someone to go and help him out, and he said to me, "Have you seen this? What do you think about it?" And I just said, didn't even look at it. Let's do it. And so
how many days is the rally? How long are you going to be sat next to each other, basically?
Well, the main event off-road from Morocco to Senegal is 13 days. Yeah, 13 days, about 6,000 kilometres. But we set off a week before that to go over to Paris to do the ceremonial start. Then obviously drive down through France, Spain, over on the ferry, and get ourselves in Morocco a couple of days before we scrutineer and set off.
Have you got a plan for what happens when you fall out?
This
is what me and Phil are doing with our band.
That's
I'll play the female role. I'm always right.
I mean, you know, we're grown up, and you realise that there's going to be times. Well,
there's going to be a time where you take the wrong turn and it's your fault, and it's going to get awkward.
It'll be fine.
We
both want to get to the end, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
We want to get to the end, support each other, get the vehicle to the end, and that's what it's all about.
And I think with that in mind, you get a mindset. So you know, whatever obstacles there are, you overcome them. Yeah. I think it'll work.
Yeah, it's one of the things I think about with me, because obviously there's me, Phil, and two mechanics, and the two mechanics as well. I've got to spend the time together.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just
we've got a mechanic and a logistics man, a driver that's coming along as well. So we've got people that are helping us behind the scenes as well. You know, setting up camp every night and then repairing the vehicle in an evening and getting it ready for us to go the next day. So, and they're doing nearly as many miles as we are. You know, when we leave camp in the morning, they've got to then pack up the camp, get the trailer and the vehicle loaded up, get to the next place, and get that set up before we get there. So
it is very much so.
Is as important as a driver and a co-driver. They're supporting us, making sure we've got fuel, food, water, and everything. So their job is as big as ours, definitely.
Yeah. Do you want to talk us through some of the preparations on the vehicle? Then what have you had to upgrade, change? And
well, we're completely new to SSVs. Completely new. I mean, initially, I'm a motorbiker. I ride a KTM 690 Euro, and I'd love to have done this sort of event on a bike, but I'm too old. I'm not fit enough. I ain't got the skill set. So it was down to the next best thing. And you could have taken a Land Cruiser or something like that, but this just seems a really good idea. It's an in-between a bike and a car, really. You're still sort of out raw in the open as such. So we took on board, and Can-Am X3, why not? So we had a search around, and there ain't many around on the market at the time. We came across this one, which is an ex-Paul Rowland's race car. It was sold by a chap up in Dewsbury, Martin, which I do believe you've... and we bought it from him last, just after the day after Boxing Day, I think it was. And then it's been a steep learning curve because we didn't know anything about them at all. Luckily, it has come with a lot of stuff, a lot of the upgrades which people sort of have mentioned, sort of arms and radius rods and it's been updated and it's got race prepped kit on it. We've had to do other bits to it. Probably the biggest thing was an auxiliary fuel tank. We've doubled the range of the vehicle, an extra 40 litre tank which is sat actually underneath the seats. It's come from the States, a company over in the States who makes them particularly for these vehicles. It's fitted in a treat, and it does seem to work pretty well.
So does that just, it's not separate, it's not a tank itself, as in it feeds the engine, does that refill your tank?
It refills your tank, yes.
I think we're looking at getting one of them. So you haven't got to pipe it into the engine as such. It just
no, you just pipe it into it pumps it straight into the main tank, and it does seem to work well. The kit itself is really good. The guys who make it obviously know what they're doing, and that fitted in okay. Other bits and pieces we've changed. I mean, we've had to basically change it from a race circuit car into more of a raid car, so we've had to put extra sort of stuff, I would say comfort stuff, but you're sat in it for 12 hours a day, so we've got to take first aid kits. We've had to sort of find places for all that sort of things, back box to take on with spare parts, etc. What we can take with us for the day.
What's your plan on spare parts?
Well, we're
carrying
carrying a couple of belts, which is probably the main thing, which I can imagine I'd be worried about what will go. If anything major breaks, then we being out in the desert on your own with two people without too many tools, you're going to be difficult. We're going to have to try and find ways of getting back. If we broke, for instance, a drive shaft, a front drive shaft, I don't know, do you disconnect the drive shaft and try and drive on the rears, or just get the front prop shaft or whatever, I don't know. We'd have to come across that as we go along. But there's only so much what you can take in. We can take electrical gear and wire and to try and bypass things or whatever. But really belts is probably the major thing, which I can imagine what we need to change out on the stages. Otherwise, when we come into the bivouacs at night, we do have a reasonable complement of spares of arms and steering rods, steering rack, to change, brake pads, brake shoes, that sort of thing, or brake discs. And
you one that's done it before that can give you a guide of what they've broke and what the...
I've asked. I mean, there's Alex.
Basically what we're using before, to be honest.
I have talked to Alex, and he's pointing in a few directions, and I think he's coming back with some other ideas and bits and pieces because they've obviously raised them extensively. We did visit Paul, didn't we, over in Wales? We got a few bits and pieces from them over there. They put us in. With the radius arms, I suppose the biggest thing, wasn't it? And get rid of the original ones, the bend too easy.
With the screen, to be fair.
And the screen, which came from Paul as well, they had them screens, I think, made up for that particular type of cage because it's got the full FIA cage fitting in it.
Yeah, that's it. We've just had, going off thinking, but we've just had the rest of his screens because he's moving up.
You've got the other ones, have you?
Yeah. So we just had the wiring harnesses wired up and everything.
Right. Okay.
One of them heated screens.
The screen fits and it seems to work really well. We've fitted the wiper kit, which is standard OEM Can-Am wiper kit. It just doesn't fit quite where they say, but the guy who's fitted it for us seems to have done a decent job, and all that seems to work nicely. The other thing we fitted our own winch, didn't we?
Yeah, we did a lot of the electrics. We fitted a winch,
yeah.
Auxiliary power sockets in the cabin, so we can charge stuff as we're going along. Pretty basic stuff, really.
Yeah, we've put a belt cooler on it. I mean, obviously that's one concern is the heat, etc. Particularly when we get down into Mauritania.
You got a temperature gauge in yours?
Yeah. No, we don't have temperature gauge. Not belt temperature gauge. No. So we have put a cooler blower on it to help, and we'll see how we go from that one. Did contemplate putting a belt temperature gauge on, but it's got to a point now. There were so many other things.
Yeah, there's always something else, and it's one of them. If you're constantly looking at it, you're going to start.
Something else to worry about.
Yeah, it is. If it starts right, you worry about it. If you don't know it, I mean, if the belt goes, doesn't it?
Fine. Have you got a protector in there?
Yeah, I've got a metal protector around. So
if it goes down.
Yeah. So we feel we've done quite a bit to it really over the year. Considering we knew nothing about it, we've learnt a lot. The service team, John has had to sort of jump in and learn a lot. He again is a biker by his nature, and he's gone on a steep learning curve as well. So there's a lot we've learned, and I'm sure there's a lot we don't know yet.
You don't know yet. You're going to find out.
Which we're going to find out.
Yeah. So what do you reckon is one of the biggest challenges for the planning side of it?
A lot of the paperwork is hard work.
Yeah.
That has taken a lot. Nothing's ever easy dealing with anything to do with Africa. And there's a lot of contradictory information around. So we've had to sift away through all that, which we feel we have done. We are lucky we have had help through Barry Richardson, who runs a company called Raid Assist. he helps a lot of bikers and does servicing for the bikers.
And
we've kind of teamed up a little bit with them, and we're using his expertise in the logistics to help us as well.
That's one thing again with me and Phil, like we don't know like the border crossings and the customs stuff. It's all stuff that goes on behind the scenes, takes time.
And to be fair, there's a lot of different stories and a lot of different scenarios floating around that people have experienced. So we're not really going to know that until we get there. We're as prepared as we think we can possibly be, but I don't think until you actually get to some of these border crossings.
Time frames for you to be stopped at any customs?
Well, I mean, going down into Morocco, we do have some spare time before we get to document technical and document inspections at scrutineering. So if we do have issues getting into Morocco, which in theory we shouldn't do, then we have got some spare time to overcome those issues. When we cross into Mauritania is pretty much a closed country. There's not a lot of information you get out there. The currency is a closed currency. You can't get it until you get to the border. You can't get your visas until you get to the border. So everything's got to be done at the border crossing. But the organisation, they are going to do the visas en masse. So they've contacted and have obviously contacts within the government there where they can get that sort of thing sorted out. Our biggest concern, which has come to light more than anything, is the fuel situation, isn't it? And getting
fuel consumption, getting fuel in the right places,
and getting it in the right places.
And quality of the fuel as well has been mentioned.
Positive fuel,
that's available.
For instance, again in Mauritania, back in the 2020 event, which was the last event what they ran, the guys were travelling between 5 and 6 filling stations to try and find one that had any fuel. So it's a bit hard to find, and obviously you know the fuel consumption of these things.
What's your plan at the minute with that? Take as much as
well,
you can?
we've got as much on board as we can possibly carry. The organisers on the longer stages take our jerry cans out into the middle of the stage and meet us, but our service crews have got to find fuel during the day to give the organisers at night for the following day. So again, that's going to be down to our logistics man and our service man from between camp to camp to find some fuel.
The organiser will have a rough idea of and point you in the direction.
Well, they're keeping quiet at the moment, to be fair.
They are keeping quiet. I mean, they'll have ideas, but at the end of the day, I suppose, if a fuel station runs out of fuel, it might have fuel the week that they did the recce in back in September, but come January, if they haven't got fuel, then you're a bit in sort of...
That's quite a worry, really.
So there's a lot of unnowns on that side.
Could be a potential hazard,
Yeah, but that's part of the adventure at the end of the day.
Well, that's it. Anything else that you think?
Although we have been led to believe Morocco is fairly decent for fuel, haven't we? And they're saying Morocco is getting more and more developed every time they go back there. So there's stuff popping up all the time. So hopefully Morocco should be all right. It's when you get down into the Western Sahara and in Mauritania that fuel could be an issue.
And well, you suck it and see and take it as it comes. We're taking extra jerry cans to try and do a swap over of jerry cans, empty ones back. They've still got some full ones to give to the organisers. That gives them the day to get the empty ones sorted out and refilled up. There's nothing more we can do.
And we've sort of said to the service lads, if you go past a fuel station that's got fuel, just fill up the cans. If you only need 20 litres, get them filled up. We're probably carrying 160, 180 litres on board now. So,
but still, how far do you reckon that'll get you?
Well, that's what's going on the service vehicle. What we've got 80 litres on, no, 102 litres on the vehicle. So we think that's going to do us about 300 and some odd miles.
So it should get you through a day.
We've got to get 250 kilometres between fuel stops.
That's where they take our cans out.
So providing we can fill up back up at those points, we should be okay to get them to the next bivouac.
So fingers crossed you're not going to get stuck in the middle of a...
That's obviously the one part which is a bit of an unknown. If you get stuck in a sand dune and you're digging yourself out and you backwards and forwards a few times, it uses fuel.
But longest stage is 600 and odd kilometres. So one day. And there's a couple of days consecutive that are over 500 kilometres. So you're driving from first light till dark, and then when you get into camp, you've then got to plan your route for the following day once they give you the waypoint. So it's going to be fairly challenging.
What's the idea for food in the day? Taking lunches every night?
Well, we did say we're going to carry gel pouches and stuff
gel
like that.
pouches
Stuff you don't
and cereal
think about.
bars, I think, is the name of the game throughout the day.
And then the organisers provide you with a meal at
Yeah,
night.
they have canteen, which is the private meal at night. Yeah. So as long as we've got sort of nourishment to keep it going through the day, then
Plenty of water.
How many entries are in this one?
I did see the other day, actually, about 100, isn't there? 70 odd bikes.
Yeah.
20 cars or something like that, and pickups and a few buggies. I think it was about 100 altogether.
Yeah, I think they restricted it to 100.
Yeah.
So
So mainly bikes. I'm sure there was 70
70
bikes.
odd bikes. Yeah, it is mainly bikes.
Yeah.
So big canteen.
Yeah. You said there's only a few buggies going.
I think
Two
it's
buggies.
Two buggies. Us in the adventure, and then
yeah.
one in the pro category.
Yeah, and the other guys are a Dutch team.
Okay.
So yeah, very very much an international gathering.
Has everyone started talking to each other yet, or is it?
We're sort of chatting with the guys that are going with Raid Assist,
Yeah.
which there's probably a dozen or more.
Yeah, I think there's probably
We're the
15
only
or something.
buggy. Yeah, probably 15 bikes.
Yeah.
We're all on a message group with them. They're all chatting away.
Yeah.
You
People
plan
swapping
to meet
ideas.
up somewhere in Europe and convoy down?
We're meeting in Bordeaux, most of us. We're picking up bikes and stuff like that, and then some of them are flying straight out and meeting up in Fez. So we'll get to meet everyone in the team, hopefully by Fez or
Raid Assist are taking the bikes down for them to Morocco, so they can then just. I mean,
can't take yours down.
There's one guy riding the bike, isn't there, all the way from the UK.
Yeah, there is.
On the bike, not even trailering it, riding the bike from the UK all the way down to Morocco, doing the rally, then riding all the way back again.
It must be mental.
It's
hardcore. I think it would be a bit of a lonely adventure on your own, wouldn't it? On a bike, I think.
Yeah.
I think it would be a bit of a...
That's hardcore, though.
It is hardcore, that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, it's. But yeah, I mean, we are meeting up with Barry, the Raid Assist guys at New Haven, where we're crossing on to Dieppe. So we're sort of kind of going down with convoy, because he's obviously got 2 vehicles with big trailers and all stashed out with bags and sort of thing. Yeah. So we're going to follow down there, and that will help at border crossings, because more en masse, the better.
That's what we was thinking. I think we've got 5 teams coming with us at the same time, so we're going to try and get to the border.
Get at the same time.
They understand then, they're doing something.
Yeah.
Hopefully hurry us through.
Rather than just shipping the bike abroad or whatever. Abroad.
Because it could end up in a mess. You get stopped at customs and.
Well, you could be there for half a day. You could be there for a day. You know, nothing moves fast in Africa as well, and it's just.
No.
So you want to try and get everything right. I mean, amount of paperwork is ridiculous. What we're going to print out and take with us, but
one thing we need 40 copies of, don't we?
Yeah, for police and military checkpoints.
So you need 40 copies of one document.
Because they take a copy of it.
Oh, they just take it? You can't just show it?
No, they take it.
They take it and then forge it for someone else.
Apparently they like stamping things.
Yeah.
The African nations very much like stamping things.
Yeah. Have you been told you've got to take some cash to pay them off?
Things like that have been mentioned.
It has been mentioned, yes. There are, particularly getting into Mauritania, I think there'll be
I've heard stories
and things
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Although we are supposed to have officials from the Mauritanian government with the posse that's going all the way through, so they're supposed to ease our passage slightly. They're in touch with the tourism people and the government and what have you. So
is there any stretch that you're worried about with like thieves or any dangers? Or?
From Morocco to Senegal, apart from that bit, we should be fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I suppose Mauritania and Western Sahara, because it's so unknown.
Yeah.
If you Google the Western Sahara, I didn't even know what it was. I knew it was a strip of land, but when you Google it, you actually find out that Morocco and Mauritania have been fighting over it for something in the last 50 years, and it's still not settled. No. So it's a bit of a no man's land, really.
Yeah, I mean, they try and reassure that tourists are...
No, the government website says don't go there.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it does.
Nev's wife's not supposed to be watching this. We haven't told her that bit yet.
Well, preparation for yourselves, what?
Yeah, I mean, it's...
mentally or physically for prepping yourselves for it, really?
Trying.
It is trying, very trying. I mean, I'm semi-retired, so I'm not doing as much work, but work does get in the way of doing some things at times. I've been trying to, keep fit and doing the the exercise bike and things like that, you know, to build up a bit of stamina, usual thing, losing weight, etc. Mentally, it is, you've got to build up mentally, and I've tried to do that with the preparations and trying to force yourself into a mode of thinking of what needs to be done and trying to keep a serious head on it. Away from, we all have a good laugh and a joke about, we're doing this and we're doing that, but it's not all like that.
No,
there's a lot of stuff you've got to take into consideration what could go wrong, etc. So I've tried to mentally prepare for myself that way. It's like anything, you can always do more physical stuff to try and help your physical side of things. But it's done as much as you can.
Mentally, by day 5, you're going to be worn out. You've had enough.
Oh, exactly.
I can just see it, like,
but you've got to have a resolve. If you
that.
didn't have a mental resolve that you were going to get to the end, you'd never even try it.
Exactly.
I don't think we can fully prepare ourselves till we get out there and get doing it.
No,
we know what we're going into.
Yeah.
We have a good idea of what we're going into. But I think you've got to have that resolve before you even embark on this, that we're going to get to the end one way or another. We're going to do it. And
figure it out.
If you stick with that resolve and get over the issues,
it's something we've always said, though, isn't it? When people have asked us about, do you think you'll get to the end? Well, no, we don't think we'll get to the end. We are getting to the end. We will get to the end.
It doesn't matter when or what.
You've got to say that, and that again is part of your mental preparation for it.
I think that's a good attitude, because you're not out there to win. You're not out there to get the best time.
No,
the challenge is to finish.
Very much so.
I've always been a problem solver. People come to me with problems and we solve them. If I was one of those people that always came to me with a problem, I wouldn't be doing it.
You wouldn't be doing it.
No, but because I'm the problem solver, then I'm quite happy that I'm doing the right thing, So I think you've got to have a mental resolve before you set out. We're doing it. We might only get to the end of day 1. We might wreck the car, blow the car up on day 1. But that question was asked: what happens if it happens? I said, well, to be fair, I'll volunteer to go and help everyone else to get to Dakar. I'm not going to turn around and get back in the car and
once
go
you're
home.
committed, you're committed
to
the time.
Exactly.
If that happens to us, then I'm quite happy to volunteer to be service crew for everyone else and help everyone else get there.
And just be part of it. I can imagine the atmosphere once you're there.
I think it becomes, even though you've got competing individuals in bikes, cars and the rest of it, but
you'll have an understanding.
There's an understanding, and if somebody's got a problem, I think the people help out. You stop and help out, and that's been one of the philosophies of the original Paris Dakar. It was all adventure. These guys, they didn't have GPSs. They were doing it on silver compasses and maps. And if people got lost or if people broke down, the next car behind during the early days, they would stop and help them out. And that, because it was classed as an adventure. Let's all get to the end.
Well, fingers crossed it's still right.
And I think a lot of that lives in this particular event.
I think so, because also it's not the Dakar. You look at the Dakar, you've got all the massive teams spending millions and millions of pounds to do it.
It's very serious.
Audi designing custom electric cars to go and do it, with the top drivers, colour science, and the top drivers from around the world putting them in. It's a serious thing.
Take the adventure out of it, though.
Exactly,
It does, and sure enough, there is a class 4 individuals in that, but to get to do something like the Dakar, you've got to go through the international routine. You've got to do international events before you can even be considered to be acceptable for an entry. And it costs money. We worked it out. If you were doing it on a shoestring, you'd still be spending £250,000-300,000 to try and do something like the Dakar.
Compared to what do you think an average team of what you're doing would spend? Obviously not going into, but it costs money at the end of the day.
We've tried to work out a budget, and I think with what we're doing and preparation we've done, if we can do it for around about between the 40 and the 50k, then I think we've done well. And that's the sort of area where I think we're at, and we've been fairly realistic with the budget. And it's nothing's gone shock horror with anything what we've had to do as part of the entrance or anything like that. You know, we knew how much the entry fee were, we knew how much the ferries are going to be, and that we know how much that fuel's going to cost and things. So we've tried to work it out and, you know, feel reasonably comfortable. We've got our sums pretty much right.
Pretty much
There's
right,
always going to be something in there.
Yeah, there'll always be something.
But,
There's always something. It's
So,
you've got to have
yeah.
little bit of thing. What would be your advice for anyone that wants to take this up as a adventure?
Do it.
Don't do it.
Is the bits that you've had to take out the budget and go, no, that we just can't do that because it's
Well,
not
I
feasible?
suppose there's lots of luxuries
there
that
is
you'd
a lot.
like to have,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that you'd like to do, but yeah, you've got to work to a budget, haven't you? And
Yeah.
take the things that you really, really need and the things that are going to make you relatively comfortable. You know, at the end of the day, we're going to be spending our nights in tents as well, and they say.
So is it all tents? They haven't got a whole
Yeah.
hotel package and
I've
stuff?
got-
No. There's
We've got
one
the
or two
odd hotel,
hotels, but you're sharing with 20 odd people.
Yeah.
So it'll be a kind of thing of using the hotels for, you know, for sanitary purposes more than sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get a shower and get a wash and have a toilet.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're camping is the name of the game. So
I
it
didn't
is a
realise
pure down to
And we've got to take our own tents and our own gear. So
You carrying all that on the vehicle,
Yeah.
or you on the back of
on
it?
the
on the
service
pickup.
vehicle.
Yeah. They'll set up the camp at the bivouac sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
Yeah. So what extra have you got to carry on the vehicle? What have you put on there that you wouldn't normally have?
On the
So,
buggy.
On the
or-
buggy, yeah. So.
The winch was the big thing.
Winch.
Obviously, we needed a winch. We've got
spare wheels,
sandboards.
sandboards.
Put our own
Hand
spare wheel
winch.
carrier on. There's a hand winch in there. Yeah.
You are
We
running
have to carry water, 3 litres.
We've
of
got
water
to carry 3 litres of
That's
water
in
each.
the
Yeah,
rules.
that's in the rules, as well as a first aid kit,
Yeah.
as well as a basic tool kit. They're all mandatory, and obviously your GPS, your navigation system.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because you're running out of room in the cabin.
There's-
I noticed. There's
yeah,
not-
yeah, you
It's
can
tight.
see there's not a lot more you can put in there, is there? You
No.
know, and that's a case of throughout the year playing around with the space and fitting things round, you know, and making the best of what you can, really. So yeah, we've got as much as we can take. It would be nice to carry 2 spare wheels, but you just can't do it. You know, not without rebuilding the bed and
That's what
doing
we're looking at doing at the minute.
Is
Is
it?
having them
Yeah.
standing up and the exhaust coming out the side rather than
Yeah.
at the back. But
Yeah.
It's quite a big modification to do. To do one rally as such.
It is, you know, it's so yeah, we decided not to go down that route, and you know, if we do have to try and repair solar punches, we've got some nifty repair kits which I've been told will
Will do the
repair
job.
and work. But hey, you know, that's we'll see how it goes. We can only do as much as we can within the budget which we've got. And you know, we've had to make a lot of modifications to the car to bring it out of that race circuit sort of mode to make it into something which you can livable and work with for 12 hours a day. That's had to take a priority over sort of more of the other things like making a bed to carry 2 spare wheels and upgrading all the suspension and all the rest of it. We just haven't got the resources to do that.
No. Well, this is your last preparation.
It's
I
our last
believe.
preparation. Yeah. It's less than
Last
a month
test day.
before we go now.
Yeah.
16th of January we're leaving the UK. So yeah.
And
yeah,
that's
we'll
that.
just- that's it.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
You got your head round the sat nav now?
No.
The
No.
GPS? No.
There's something to do over
That's
Christmas.
confident.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
I do have a silver compass, and it is in the car.
Yeah, and a map.
And a map.
As a backup.
Yeah. The trouble is the map of Mauritania. If you look at the map of Mauritania, it's very sand coloured,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot more on
There's
this.
a lot of desert.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that we get sent somewhere in the middle, so we'll follow some tracks. That's
Yeah,
our idea.
yes,
Is that if
yeah.
we're not sure where we're going, there'll be a track.
Yeah.
There'll be a track.
Absolutely.
Somebody
exactly.
would have done
yeah,
it before
yeah,
us.
Yeah,
That's one of the hopes we've got.
Yeah.
No, just to get to grips with the sat nav. The car's good. We think we know what we're taking. We just need to make sure we can get everything in the vehicles.
I was going to say the setup's different, so you haven't got driver nav. You've just got 2 drivers.
Yeah, we're doing it slightly differently to other people. We're taking a day on each.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're both going to have a bit of the navigation and a bit of the driving.
Yeah.
So it's because it's a joint venture.
Yeah.
It gives both of us the chance to get the feeling of the whole thing.
Well, and there's some long distances to cover.
And
Yeah, it gives you a bit of a rest as well.
Yeah.
I was talking about, I'm not sure if that's in the regs for Albania. So
Right,
I think you've got to
have a driver
yeah.
code driver specified, yeah.
So we're fighting over who's driving at the minute.
Oh, yeah.
Take two.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah, so I'm not going to keep you. You're losing light now, aren't you? Really, but so anything else you want?
I mean, one of the things I will say that is that this was a dream, but I've also I talked to Tony about it in the early days. We decided to raise money for a charity.
Okay.
Which is Help Heroes.
Yep.
Being ex-military, it's a charity fairly close to my heart. When we've raised a fair chunk of money, we've done some fundraising throughout the year. We've got a Just Giving page, and anybody who is watching this and they feel they want to help the charity.
Yep.
The Just Giving page is on our website. All the money what goes to Just Giving page goes to charity. We aren't using any of that for preparations or anything.
Right.
So any donations, it's get in there, guys, and
If you
get
send
on.
over the links, we'll put them in the description on the
Yeah.
on the YouTube and
brilliant,
whatnot.
thank you. Yeah,
Any of that? Is there anywhere else they can follow you? Have you got any of them?
The website itself, we've got a tracker on there, so you can actually track the vehicle as it's moving, providing we've got signalled where you'll pick up.
Yeah.
If it's not moved for 4 days, there may be an issue.
Come and get us.
But you can follow it. That we've got Facebook, we've got Instagram feed. We'll send you the links there so people can try and follow. I'm going to try and get video out as much as we possibly can, and have some in the UK put it onto the socials, etc.
Yeah, we want to try and get a videographer to come and just follow us all the way through it. Really.
It'd be great if you could get somebody to do that. I think that's a
I was trying to get a documentary going.
Right, brilliant.
Of what it takes, because we've never done it. Like you guys, it's an idea, it's a dream.
Yeah.
But there's more to it when you start looking into it than just we'll just get the bugger.
Yeah.
And we'll go to Albania.
Yeah.
That'll be that. There's
a bit more to it.
There
is a lot more to it. But you enjoy the preparations. At the end of the day, there's been high points, there's been low points, but you keep thinking, look, this is what it's all about. There's bound to be low points.
Any point where you thought we're not going to do this?
No. It's never entered. No. It's been all the way through 100%. That
you've got to be committed, haven't you?
You've got to
be committed.
And luckily, the family have got behind it as well.
Yeah, well, that's the biggest thing. If you haven't got the okay off the wife, it becomes a problem. You still got the original four of you. Has anyone dropped out that started at the start?
No, it was Nev and I to start with, and then a good friend of ours. Drinking partner was a bit gutted that we didn't ask him to do it, so he volunteered. But like Nev said, John's a bike mechanic, but he was absolutely adamant that he wanted to come along. Yeah. And then another friend of mine who Nev didn't know at the time, a guy called Gavin Dalton, was an ex-RAF driver and a driving instructor for the RAF, and I just was sat in the pub with him one night, and we were looking for someone to go on the service team, and in a drunken stupor, as you say, I've got the perfect project for you. And
I can do that.
A couple of days later, he was signed up. So
yeah. Unfortunately, he's down with flu at the moment. He's been off all week and struggling getting out of bed. So because otherwise, he would have been up here as well.
He's not avoiding you then.
Well, it might be. It might be something he hasn't told us.
It might be something he hasn't told us. Yeah. We have a fifth team member, Gary, who's been helping out with a lot of logistical stuff, and obviously like today, a day like today, where Gary and Tony, who work for the DST, have helped out and allowed us to create these GPX points and do what obviously we needed to do, practice on the navigation, and it's shown up. A lot of issues which we know we can probably be able to overcome. A lot of them we have overcome through today, so it's been really useful.
What's the biggest surprise issue that you just never thought would?
Biggest surprise? Don't know really.
Have we come across that biggest surprise yet?
Well, one of the shocks for me, because I thought it was going to be hot all the way. And then when people started sending me videos of previous events, I think the first video that I watched was on one of the first stages in Morocco, where it was snowing and the temperature was -15. And then we sort of did a bit more asking around, and as it turns out, you can be going from as low as -15 in the Atlas Mountains in Morocco, and then obviously up to 30, maybe 40 degrees once you come out the mountains down into the desert. There's one particular day, I think it's the last day in Morocco, where you drop down from the mountains, and they say you can go from -10 or 15 down to +35 in a day. Now that is
crazy
serious
isn't it?
extremes in temperatures. You know, and again, what do you carry on the buggy? That's why today it's what do we wear? And today being the first day we've done of real cold weather testing, you know, it's a race suit with some ski thermals underneath. But
it worked.
Yeah, it's worked today. But when you're going from, you don't want to be wearing ski thermals from
30 degrees
down into 30 degrees, do you? So again, it's space on the vehicle to put stuff if you know.
Have you had to come up with any good ideas, like had to
to
hide stuff in there and
no,
a bit of trickery here and there? No?
I think you're going to have to sit on it, ram it under the seats in the toolbox.
I think it's the only way, isn't it? Like,
Find a bin and move on.
Find
a bin, move on. And
space is an issue. There's no doubt about it. You know, it's.
And when we went to get the first race suits, you know, the ones that we were looking at that we could really afford were, when you feel them, they're like thick woolen sweaters, you know, and it's like, shit, are we going to be wearing that in 35 degrees for a week?
Yeah, you'd be
not going to stink very much, are you?
No.
You'd be wearing that, and then a couple of hours later you'll be in your underpants.
Exactly.
Trying to get a breeze.
I think probably the extremes in temperatures I didn't realise right in the beginning. But it just adds to the challenge. Might strap my skis to the top of the car just in case.
Just in case.
Somewhere to do a bit of off-pasting while we're out there.
And a bit of a rope onto the back of it.
No, it's going to be awesome.
I skipped over your Help for Heroes stuff. So you say you've been raising, what events have you done for raising charity?
We had a stand up at there's a local agricultural show, Driffield Show, which is quite an esteemed show. You'd organised
we managed to get
a free stand. So we put the car up there. This is back in August was it? June was it?
Yeah.
Right. And we set up and helped the heroes. Obviously registered with them, so they sent us all the gear and everything. And it was really successful. You know, we had the buckets out and we collected money and talked to people about the cause and all that. So we've done that.
Various people have donated on Just Giving and what have you for it as well.
Yeah.
The more we can raise for that, the better.
We've done a pub
it's a good charity. I did. I don't know if they do a banger run every year.
Oh, yeah.
So
right.
So you buy a 250 quid car and get round.
Right.
Try and get round
so
Europe.
So you can finish.
Sort of thing. That was all for Help for Heroes.
Yeah.
2012, I think we did it.
Right.
Stelvio Pass and stuff.
Oh, brilliant.
In a old Volvo estate.
Excellent.
Mental. But it is a good charity. And more events or anything
no, that's
planned
it.
before?
We're only 30 days till we go now, so
there's nothing more we can do at this point now.
Switch off, rest, and
get Christmas out of the way. Eat too much, drink too much, bulk up for the winter.
And off you go.
And starve for the 2 weeks before we go.
If you send us all the Just Giving stuff, any of the links where people can follow you, we'll put it in the description.
Thank you very much.
Good luck, and thanks for inviting us up today.
Well, thanks for coming up. You know, it's really good. It gives an insight to people in the group about what other people do out there, like and it's great. It's an upcoming sport and it's an upcoming group, so
and good luck with what you're doing.
And good luck with what
Thanks
you're
for visiting
doing.
us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.